بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والسلام على خير خلق الله نبينا وإمامنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. It's good to be back. Good to see you brothers once again. Inshallah. Good to be seen. Better to be seen than viewed. And perhaps, wallahu alam, being viewed could be better than being seen, depending on how you die and what you go towards. Sight versus perception, half full, half empty. Death, who knows, who says that it's better to be living than dead? Al-Muhim, at the end of the day, tonight's class, inshallah, moving forward in Sunan Abu Dawud, reading from two books, two chapters. One is Kitab al-Sunnah, and second is Kitab al-Adab. The chapter concerning the belief system of the Muslim, the creed of the Muslim, the aqidah of the Muslim, and of course the word Sunnah, even here has a broader meaning. But in most cases, Sunnah here, يعني الاعتقاد, al-mu'taqad, the belief system. And then Kitab al-Adab, the book of behavior, the book of good character, the book of the mannerisms that every single Muslim is supposed to adorn himself with. And the mannerisms that every single Muslim is supposed to shun and shy away from. The most basic of the Muslims, the one who sells bread, the one who makes shoes, the fisherman, the butcher, any Muslim, all the way up to the top, the scholar, the Quran reciter, the imam, the leader, from top to bottom. Akhlaq, every single Muslim is supposed to abide by and adhere and beautify and adorn himself with. It's nothing special. I'm a layman, I'm a normal Muslim. That doesn't mean you can behave like that. And the aqidah that every single Muslim should know the basics of. All right, we don't want to spend any more time with regard to misconceptions out there in the world in which we live. Many brothers, they think that this behavior or this, it's okay to do this because I'm nobody special. I'm just, average Joe. Even average Joe can't do that if the average Joe is Muslim. And of course, there are people who are special. There are believers who have higher levels and ranks. There are public figures and role models that may have a higher response, a sharper edge. But every single knife in this collection has to have some basic cutting edge, right? End of discussion. Some knives rust faster than others, some don't rust at all. But all of them have to have some basic level of what? If it's called a knife. Some basic, you have to have the ability to grab it, to hold it, without cutting yourself, and use the knife to cut or slice or poke whatever that you're using that instrument for. And of course, there are knives which are sharper, longer, more precise, etc. It has higher up. But every single knife must have basic characteristic of knife. There is no, I can do this because I'm not the imam in the masjid, I'm not a student of knowledge, or I'm not from la akhlaq of every single Muslim. All right, enough of that. Let's get started. So it says here, Babun fit tafdil. Babun fit tafdil. Last chapter that we did in Kitab al-Sunnah, if I'm correct, was concerning the qadr. What's correct and what's incorrect with regards to what you as a Muslim are to believe in concerning qadr. Al-qada'u wal-qadr, i.e. fate, divine decree, predestiny, what's meant to be, what's written, and how you are supposed to behave. And what is that supposed to do for your heart, your mind, your soul with regards to knowing that things have been fated, right? Every single Muslim must know the basics of fate. This is one of the 6 pillars of Iman, one of the 6 articles of faith. is to believe in qadr. But, of course, like all other issues, there are different groups and there are different roads and avenues, Muslim and non-Muslim, with regards to qadr. That which is incorrect, that which is extreme. People relying on the qadr, absolutely not putting in any effort because it's fated. And then people not accepting when you've clearly lost that it was fated. It's meant to be. Let it go. Walk away from it. Everyone understand this? And there are extremes in what? And both. Everyone understand this? And I think this is one of the most obvious things in the Muslim Ummah today. Nothing is going to happen unless Allah wills it. That's a fact. But that doesn't mean that you lazily, half-heartedly go into a thing. Inshallah. You make it your intention. I'm going to be there 8 a.m. If Allah wills. Not, I'm going to wake up at 7:45, come late, this and that, because I said inshallah. And then when I am late, I'm there at 8:15, 8:30, I'm going to say, mashallah. This is something that we suffer from. All of us suffer from this. Hesitating, procrastinating, and then blaming it on qadr. It was your job to make sure that you went to sleep, that you got up, that you left early, ahead of time, traffic. Do your best to get there at 8 a.m. And if something happens that was out of your control, a freak accident, tire busted out of the middle of nowhere, there's never traffic on this road, today it happened to be an accident, you don't get bent out of shape because you know that it was meant to be. But you have to prepare yourself and do whatever you can, right? So many people have strayed, Muslim and non-Muslim, with regards to fate and qadr. And this is extremely practical, on a practical level. War, victory and defeat, sports, a successful or unsuccessful marriage, death, a tragedy. It was meant to be. It's the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sins. These sins were decreed upon me, so let me keep sinning because it's meant to be. I'm not going to try, I'm not going to put forth the necessary effort because it's qadr. Versus, I did have a past, a dark past. But that obviously is in the past. I've made tawbah from that. I've walked away from that lifestyle. I've cleaned myself up. I'm not associated with those people in that anymore. And you know what? Since it was 10, 20 years ago, I'm going to say, no doubt, that was what? No, I'm going to say that was qadr. My hands is free from that. I'm a new person. That was what? Meant to be. Versus I'm doing the sin in the present tense and I'm going to say this is qadr. You understand the difference? It's huge, 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 huge difference. And you'll find in all levels of life, you'll find one left or one right. Sports, like I said, right? You get bad grades in school, you kill yourself, you commit suicide. I'm supposed to be the top student, the valedictorian. I didn't get it. Instead of believing that it was meant to get a B. It was meant to be. It's done. It's over. It's qadr. It was meant for you to lose this game. The mental stress, you're still bearing it. But you don't say that while you're studying for the exam, preparing for the game, preparing for the battle. You don't know what is or isn't qadr. Everybody clear on this? So that's something that every single Muslim is supposed to have a good, solid grip of the foundations of belief in the pre-decree. And what is incorrect and wrong concerning that. All right, tight. Let's move forward. So tonight's class, it says regarding preference, i.e., you write down what's meant by preference concerning the companions. Preference concerning the companions. I.e., are the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, are they of the same rank, the same virtue, the same status, or are some companions better than others, more virtuous than others? And this is an issue of your belief system. What do we believe about the companions? What do we believe about Abu Bakr and Umar? What do we believe about Ali and Muawiyah, etc., etc., etc.? That's what's meant by this chapter heading. Giving preference to one companion over another. And of course, just like the qadar, you have people of different extremes, right? Right and left. Some people go far right concerning the companions. Some people go far left. And this is no different than the Jews and the Christians following them. The followers, the disciples, they go extreme concerning the disciples. And this holy book is no longer just the words of God. Regardless of the language, what it was translated from, Greek, Syriac, Aramaic, what's important is it's no longer the words of God. But in it is the words of God and the words of this one and the words of that one. And they put it all together and just call it the what? The Holy Bible. And that's a big problem. What the disciples said versus what Christ said. It's a big problem. It's a fundamental crack in Christianity. In the book which is called the Bible or the Holy Bible. And so that's a fundamental issue. And from that is regardless of the righteousness of this disciple and the devotion of this disciple, he is still a disciple, not God. Everyone understand this? Let alone the messenger of God. Christ, is he? You get the point I'm trying to make. It's a big problem. So what do we believe concerning these followers and these disciples? They're holy men. But what does the word holy man constitute and necessitate? Once again, that's a fundamental crack in Catholicism. This holy man, this pope, is a representative of God on earth. And he speaks holiness. And what he says is as if God himself is saying it. That's a big problem. The clergy making up rules. And then the other extreme is that I can interpret and understand the scriptures and the teachings without the clergy. And the clergy has no status. You get the point I'm trying to make. So what we believe concerning the prophet's companions and his disciples is extremely important, and it has consequences and ramifications on the practical level of Islam from a day-to-day basis. We all on the same page or not? No. Tight. So therefore there are many, and of course, before we go to books in the Quran, what we believe about the companions, what we say about them, how we interact with them when their names are mentioned, their stories, that's a part of the Quranic explanation. The companions directly and indirectly are mentioned where? In the Quran. So it's not just a footnote. This is a part of understanding and reflecting on the words of Allah. Allah talks about the companions. One companion's name is mentioned specifically. Who was who? Zayd, the son of? Son of Osama? Which one? Why did Allah only mention Zayd in the Quran? But why just Zayd? Why not? Why wasn't Ali mentioned in the Quran? It's a question. Why wasn't Abu Bakr mentioned in the Quran by name? Why did Allah choose to mention Zayd by name? But why his by name though? How many other situations are mentioned in the Quran? Many situations. Husband and wife, killed, hijrah, in the cave. But Allah chose to mention Zayd by name. At the end of the day, the moral of the story is that they have been mentioned in the Quran abundantly. What we're to them is fundamentally basic. And that's why it's a part of your aqidah, your madhab, what you believe in. Everybody clear on this? That's the moral of the story. So in theory and in practice, it's important, right? Okay. Next step is, of course, there are many books, many different classes that talk about the foundations of Islam concerning the companions. What we believe about them, what we say when their names are mentioned, the respect that we have for them, the extremism that we do not go and fall, choose their place and status in Jannah, understanding of the Quran, how they brought us the Quran, brought us the hadiths, point by point by point by point. Here what's mentioned is bun fit tafdil. حدثنا عثمان بن أبي شيبة أسود بن عامر قال حدثنا عبد العزيز بن أبي سلمة عن عبيد الله عن نافع عن ابن عمر قال كنا نقول في زمن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لا نعدل بأبي بكر أحدا ثم عمر ثم عثمان اتركوا أصحاب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لا تفاضل بينهم. Hadith number 4627. It was narrated from Nafi, from Ibn Umar, who said, at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, we used to say, during the Am, we did not regard anyone as equal to Abu Bakr. Period. In the discussion. No one was more virtuous than Abu Bakr. No companion shared his status. Nothing open for discussion or debate. Then Umar. Nothing to discuss. Who was the most virtuous companion after Umar? According to this narration, then Uthman. Then after, did not differentiate between the companions of the Prophet ﷺ in the discussion. So according to this one narration, this was the order. Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and then what? Everybody understand this? The three top ones, the three stars of the Sahaba that stood out, that were outstanding, according to this narration, that's it. And the other companions after that, according to this narration, were all of one what? In general. Because of course, there is virtue of those who made hijrah, those who fought in Badr, those who went to Uhud, those who accepted Islam before Hudaybiyah, right? Those who accepted Islam before Mecca was opened up, etc., etc., etc. But in general, specifically individually. And notice that this narration does not mention Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu wa ardah. And of course, that's a long discussion concerning the extremism and the disrespect that is shown to Ali. The extremism, those who say Ali is a God, a deity, to be called upon, may Allah protect us from that. Ali was the real prophet, but the of the Muslims, but Abu Bakr stole it from him. Him and Umar conspired against Ali. They whispered to each other to, nudge him out the way. He deserved to be the Khalifa. Ali is the best of the companions, hands down. Every single verse in the Quran talks about Ali, Hassan, Hussein. Extremism. And the levels of extremism from Shirk Akbar, Kufr Akbar, all the way down to innovations, etc. And then those who went to the other side of extremism, disrespecting Ali as a Sahabi, as an early revert to the deen from the early Muslims, the young men who grew up with the Prophet ﷺ from the early days, fighting in the battles, etc., what he did for Islam, and having no respect for Ahlul Bayt, and no respect for the Prophet ﷺ's children and grandchildren, and no respect for the clear virtues that the Prophet told us about his daughter, Fatima, and what the Prophet ﷺ told us about his grandsons, Hassan and Hussein. So those are two extremes right there, which we have nothing to do with. Far right, far left. We have nothing to do with those zealots. However, the concept is that Ali radiallahu anhu must come as number 4, or Ali is even better than Uthman. This narration clearly shows none of that. You guys on the same page or not? Let's repeat that once more. Point number 1, that Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu arda, with all of our love and respect for his great Sahabi, has to be number 4, or Ali is better than. This narration does what? Debunks that. That neither of those 2 points are from the correct aqidah. We clear on that or not? So, touching Abu Bakr and Umar, that's no discussion. Off limits. And anyone who comes close to that is like an electrical fence. You're going to get fried. If you come near that fence, Abu Bakr and Umar, any discussion concerning Abu Bakr and Umar, it's impossible for you to have orthodox creed. End of discussion. You are out of the fold of the Sunnah. No debate possible. Uthman or Ali? Maybe. Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali? Maybe. But for sure, Abu Bakr and Umar is what? Off limits. Now, this shows us is that it was Uthman who was number 3, and not Ali, and it doesn't mention Ali as being the 4th outstanding one from the stars of the Sahaba that will shine brightly, that everybody saw their brilliance and their vibrance. All right. So this hadith here is collected by Imam Abu Dawud, as we've just read. And this footnote shows us, أخرجه البخاري. This hadith is also found in Sahih Bukhari. And we've explained this before. Reading from one book doesn't mean that it's only found in one book, but it's also found in Bukhari. Imam Abu Dawud is an independent scholar with his own personality and his own scholarship. Next narration, 4628. حدثنا أحمد بن صالح قال حدثنا عنبسة قال حدثنا يونس عن ابن شهاب أنه قال سالم بن عبد الله أن ابن عمر قال كنا نقول ورسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم حي أفضل أمة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بعده أبو بكر ثم عمر ثم عثمان رضي الله عنهم. It was narrated that Ibn Shihab said, that Zuhri, he narrated from Salim, the son of Abdullah ibn Umar. Ibn Umar, the great companion, said, we used to say, when the Messenger of Allah ﷺ was alive, when he says we used to say, he's talking about who? Huh? The Sahaba. We used to say this. It was well known. The best of the ummah of the Prophet ﷺ after the Prophet was Abu Bakr, then Umar, then Uthman. May Allah be. And that's it. End of discussion. Meaning those 3 standing out. Similar to the previous narration. Moving forward. حدثنا محمد بن كثير ثم قال حدثنا سفيان قال حدثنا جامع بن أبي راشد قال حدثنا أبو يعلى عن محمد بن الحنفية قال قلت لأبي أي الناس خير بعد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال أبو بكر قال قلت ثم من قال ثم عمر قال ثم خشيت أن أقول ثم من. Let's move back. It says here, 4629, it was narrated that Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiyyah said, I said to my father. Who's his father? Read in the footnotes. Meaning Ali, may Allah be pleased with him, who was his father. He was called Ibn al-Hanafiyyah after his mother, who was a slave when she bore him. So genealogy and lineage. Why wasn't he attributed to his father? Even so, in Islam, according to Islamic rulings, and of course there's a very long discussion concerning slavery, which we've spoken about many times before, many lectures we've done on this. It's a very long discussion, and many different far rights and far lefts concerning the discussion of slavery. But of course there are many differences between Islamic slavery and between slavery in any other part of the world. China, Europe, Africa, South America, Central America, etc. So in an Islamic system, the Islamic Sharia, if a man has a woman who is his right-hand possession, a concubine, he is allowed to have intercourse with her. And if he's allowed to have intercourse with her and she bears him a son, that is his son. He can't sleep with a woman and just say, it's a bastard child. No, that's a legal son. It's a legal son that is attributed to the father. Everyone understand this? And that's obviously one difference between the Islamic system and the other types of slavery in different parts of the world, in which a man sleeps with a slave woman and he denies or rejects the son. It's a half-breed son, right? He's not fully black, nor is he fully white. He looks like this, half-breed. That's long problematic discussion in itself. that has its effects to this very day. To this very day, as we speak in this masjid, to this very day. That's a fact. The concept of the mixing of genealogy and people not accepting their genes. That's your son. You're the daddy, whether you like it or not. If the mother and the woman was so disgusting to sleep with, why'd you sleep with her? That's your son. This is your son. And where did the culture come from of illegitimate children? An abundance. A zina, children with no fathers. Where did that culture come from? And the hypocrisy of these people or these races, they're known for having illegitimate children. No one knows their fathers, blah, blah. Where did that come from? Who promoted that culture of get a woman pregnant and then just walk off and collapse? That's not my son. Even though the boy, right, the moral of the story is, you see the double standard? And the same applies to gun violence. And I don't want to get too deep or too philosophical or too far down the rabbit hole, but just for you to wake up. Where does the culture of gun violence come from? No, but you don't got to answer, but the mindset. Where does it come from? Who made the guns? Who brought the guns? Who sold the guns? Who gave the guns? And then obviously, well, these people, they're dangerous. But you cannot blame them for you using a gun and shoot somebody. It's a system. It's a thing. You're a pawn on a chessboard, but you still moved. And that's why the famous poet, he said, what? Stay legal in the discussion. Stay legal. Stay legal. White man, he did this to me, put me, stay what? Legal. Stay out of trouble. Do your best to stay out of trouble. And then you don't have to worry about this, that, conspiracy, these people, he did it, but you did the crime. You played your part in that game and in that puppet system. So the moral of the story is the concept of a man having a slave, he sleeps with her, this man sleeps with her, 3, 4, 5, 6 different men all sleep with this woman. And then the child is born, no one claims. That doesn't go with the Islamic system. That's the moral of the story. All right, let's not get any deeper than that. We're not here to talk about slavery. We're not here to talk about concubines, right-hand possessions. We're not here to talk about social justice in America, the prison system. We're not here to talk about none of that stuff. All right? Period. We're here to talk about Sunan Abu Dawud. All right. So, he said, I said to my father, which of the people is best after the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? He said, Abu Bakr. I said, then who? He said, then Umar. Then I was afraid to ask, then who? I was too shy to say who's next. It states, then who, lest he say Uthman, then you. Moving forward, on the same page, right? That was the next page, Shams. 74? Oh, okay. Gotcha. Sorry. Bang, right? Oh, my father, he said, I am just one of the Muslims. Allahu Akbar. Anta ya abi, qala ma ana illa rajulun min al-muslimin. Let's read this narration one more time, in case we didn't get the lesson 100%. All right. So Ali's son is asking who? His father. We on the same page or not? Bang. All right. Muhammad ibn Hanafiya said, I asked my father, who is the best, who's the most virtuous of the companions after the Prophet, after the Messenger of Allah? He said Abu Bakr. Then who comes next? He said Umar. It says, ثُمَّ أو قال ثُمَّ خَشِيتُ أَنْ أَقُولُ ثُمَّ مَنْ. And I was afraid to ask him a third time for what reason? That it would be some, whatever the case may be, right? So I said, maybe it's you. And Ali radiallahu anhu, he said, no, I'm nothing special. And this goes to show you the supreme humility of Ali and how he looked at himself. Even though no question, no doubt about it, Ali was from the most virtuous of the Sahaba. Full of accolades. On and off the battlefield. Yet he didn't say that. And we should learn from this. I should learn from this. We should all learn from this. Don't toot your own horn. Stay away from, patting yourself on the back. And it's a big problem that we suffer from. And it's very applicable when it comes to demanding rights. The leader shouldn't be saying to the people, I'm your leader, respect me, obey me. For two reasons. The first reason is if you as a leader, if you have to keep saying that to your subjects, then that already proves what? No, you're a leader, but that proves what? You're weak. If you have to constantly throw that into people's faces. I'm the boss. Don't you know I'm the boss? You're my employee. I'm your supervisor. What does that already mean? What does that prove? Talking to you, what does that prove? That our relationship, I am the supervisor, is already, you really don't respect me, fear me, none of that. Well, if I got to keep hanging it over your head, it's supposed to be established. Second of all is the other people should be the ones saying that. Hey, Shamsuddin is the Imam of the Masjid, give him some respect. Give Shams some respect. Don't say this to him. Don't do that. You parked in a parking spot. He's the Imam. I can toot your horn. I can pat you on the back. I can give you your props. I can demand the respect that you deserve. But Shamsuddin shouldn't be what? He shouldn't be the one. Because that's going to lead to the hot air balloon. Everybody clear on this? So this is applicable husband and wife. The husband shouldn't be throwing it in his face every 5 seconds. I'm the husband, obey me, respect me, I'm the Zoj. It shouldn't be like that. The boss, the Imam, if you're a scholar, if you're a student of knowledge, let your knowledge speak for you. You don't have to keep, waving around. I graduated from here. I have this ijazah. I know this. I memorized the Quran. Let your recitation of the Quran speak for you. The people they'll get the point. And if there is someone who is disrespectful or not respecting your status as the one who's memorized the most Quran, who knows, somebody else is going to say, yo, chill, man. It's half of the Quran. Back up, bro. Somebody else is going to step in. You don't have to do it. And if you do it, it's going to lead to the self-amazement and the pride. And this has destroyed our community from many aspects, many angles of, people going on serious ego trips, like big-time ego trips. And if you wanted to be serious and honest, you ain't even built like that. For real. What makes you, Shamsuddin, the absolute leader? What makes you the Khan of the people in this city? What qualifications do you have to be the absolute HNI, whatever the case may be? Hands down, all of the Muslims. This is serious now. All of the Muslims have to listen to me and obey me. I'm the absolute self-appointed Amir. That's a problem saying that, as we already stated. But if you wanted to get down to being serious, Fadl. Tell me what you have that demands all of the Muslims to listen to you and obey you. Buhaira, Fadl, what you got? To make that demand. There's a problem or not? It's a huge problem. So the ego trip is automatically, that's the mushkila in itself, having an ego trip. But then, that's why Allah mentions in the Quran that different people had pride without the right to do so. So if you have the right to have pride, it's haram, it's a major sin. And if you have pride without the right, then it's even what? Even worse. Everybody get this or not? So right now, Shamsuddin says in this masjid, I'm the most knowledgeable. That's a fact. Shamsuddin, he studied in Ghana. He's memorized Quran. He has ijazah. He studied Maliki fiqh, blah, 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 blah. Shamsuddin is the most organized person. He studied business. He has all of the qualifications. He should be the leader. And with all of those qualifications and accolades, he still isn't supposed to what? Go on a what? He ain't supposed to behave like that. But for argument's sake, if he is a little prideful, or if he is demanding people to listen to him, to follow him, he could say what? What could he say? Technically what? No doubt. There you go. I'm a man. If he wanted to brag, he could what? It's like sports. He's overrated this. All right, well, I got this ring. I did. If he wanted to brag. if he wanted to flaunt it, which is not good. But for argument's sake, he could. This quarterback, no Super Bowls, no championships, no statistics, nothing that you've accomplished, and he's still what? Saying he's the best quarterback. That's double ugly now. You guys get the point? So I want everybody to just think about this and how this is acidic to relationships on all levels. Masjid, marriage, workplace, this is acid. That mentality of being prideful without the right of doing so. And the impermissibility of being prideful, even when you are the boss, you are the top-notch person, you're still supposed to be humble. So that's a clear benefit from this hadith. Is humility is the mark of the true scholar. And we've said this before, any scholar going around bragging, talking every 5 seconds is a fake scholar. It's not a true scholar. You may have some knowledge, you may have some information, but you don't have the wisdom and understanding when you feel the need to put yourself out there on a pedestal. Wallahu ta'ala alam. All right, khair inshallah. Next narration, it says, حدثنا محمد بن مسكين قال حدثنا محمد يعني الفريابي قال سمعت سفيان يقول من زعم أن علي رضي الله عنه كان أحق بالولاية منهما فقد أخطأ أو فقد خطأ أبا بكر وعمر والمهاجرين والأنصار رضي الله عنهم عن جميعهم وما أراه يرتفع له مع هذا عمل إلى السماء. الله أكبر. This narration may be a little difficult for some people to swallow or to bear, but this is Abu Dawud's work. He says, it's hadith number 4630. Yufadl Shams. Firyabi
said, I heard Sufyan say, whoever claims that Ali was more deserving of being the Khalifa first than both of them, Abu Bakr and Umar, then he has attributed error to Abu Bakr and Umar and the Muhajirin and the Ansar. May Allah be pleased with them all. And I do not think that with his belief, any deeds of his will rise to him.
Allahu Akbar. So this narration is not from the Prophet, nor is it from any of the Sahaba, but it's from Sufyan. Whether it's a Thawri or Ibn Uyayna. Both of them obviously great imams of the early Muslims of the 2nd century. One of them dying earlier than the other, and one of them being more virtuous, Sufyan al-Thawri. Sufyan al-Thawri and Sufyan ibn Uyayna, not prophets, of course, not Sahaba, Naam, great imams from the early generations of the Muslims. He said, listen to this statement. He said, whoever claims that Ali was more deserving of the Khilafah before Abu Bakr and Umar, then he is saying that Abu Bakr, with all of his guidance, knowledge, virtue, closeness to the Prophet, all of those Quranic verses that talk about Abu Bakr, he was blatantly, clearly, publicly wrong. And this isn't something in Abu Bakr's personal life. This isn't something presented to Abu Bakr and his wife or his children. This is something that's touching the Ummah of Islam. So for Abu Bakr to make this type of error and blunder just like that speaks volumes about Abu Bakr. And he's saying that Umar radiallahu anhu, with all of his virtue, all of the hadith about Umar, all of what the Prophet said about Umar, the shaitan running away from Umar, him being divinely inspired, etc., he was blatantly, publicly, openly wrong. Once again, not Umar pertaining to beating someone, or this is Umar dealing with an issue touching the whole Ummah. Abu Bakr and Umar, they were both mistaken, they were wrong, they didn't know what they were talking about to say that Ali was the deserving caliph before those two. And not only has he deemed Abu Bakr and Umar to be plainly blundering, all of the Muhajirin, those who left Mecca to go to Medina, all of them were wrong. And all of the Ansar, those who welcomed the Muhajirin, everybody was wrong. And everybody, collaborated and came together to wrong Ali, to oppress Ali, to, steal Ali's haqq. And before we finish this narration, last thing we want to say before we finish the narration is, Shaitan is very tricky. He's a trickster. He's a trick master. He's an expert at tricking people and deceiving men. He's been doing it since our forefather Adam. He has tons and tons of experience. And from the tricks and the traps of the Shaitan, is that he gets you to say something which is wrong. He gets you to go extreme, and you end up becoming the monster that you swore to destroy. You end up becoming the very thing that caused you to be extreme and radical. And this is applicable in all aspects of life. A vigilante cop, right? I got to take the law into my own hands. We can't sit back and wait to see what they're going to do. This cop, he runs down on the drug dealers. He runs down on the killers, this and that. And then he becomes what? What does he become? Ruthless. The person that he vowed to fight against, he becomes that. And his own personal greed and vengeance and vendetta swallows him whole. Is this not the case? So those people say that Ali is the best, the most brave, the bravest, the most courageous, the this, the that, the this, the that. And they go far extreme concerning him, what they believe about Ali, and how they try to make sense of the Islamic history. It turns Ali into an ultimate what? Not that. What does it turn Ali into? So right now, Ali radiallahu anhu was supposed to be all right, let's say they don't go that far extreme saying he was a prophet. Ali was supposed to be the caliph. Sheikh Abdul Qudus, what stopped Ali from standing up for his haqq? That the prophet gave him, according to what you're saying. What stopped him? Ali, if he knew that the prophet, he gave him the khilafah. He's the caliph. Was Ali scared of Abu Bakr physically? Umar? Ali was weak, short, small. He wasn't his mother didn't call him a lion. Ali lacked the knowledge that he was the caliph. What would make Ali just eat humble pie and say, oh, you guys can take it? Nah. That's not humbleness. That's not shyness. This is my right that I've been given to from Allah, from His Messenger, to have this position. You going to walk away from that humbly? So Ali was scared or shy. Respect or disrespect to Ali? No doubt. You see it? The hot extremism. They became what they were what? Supposedly running away from. They stole this from Ali. They took that from Ali. They took this from his sons. They did this. They nudged them out the way. They pushed them out the way. They fought him. They fought him on the battlefield. Those people who go extreme concerning the love of Ali, they turn Ali into a coward, into a weak-willed, spineless nobody whose whole life was a story of being a victim. You guys get the point or not? Everybody on the same page? And that is applicable to anyone who goes extreme. He becomes what he swore to fight. So Ali radiallahu anhu isn't getting respect by saying he's the caliph, but he allowed Abu Bakr to move him out the way. He allowed Umar to move him out the way. Who was the next caliph after Abu Bakr? Historically, it was Umar. Why didn't he stand up to Umar? Who was the next caliph after Uthman? After Umar, it was who? Historically, that's a fact. Okay, I can't fight Abu Bakr and Umar. Let me at least speak up in front of Uthman. Nope. So Ali is the ultimate supreme coward now, according to Aywa. Because they have to make sense out of what happened. Why didn't Ali take the caliphate? Why wasn't he the caliph? So these people, they go extreme concerning Ali, and they become worse than what they claim to stand against. Everybody on the same page? Everybody get the point or not? So the narration, it then states that Sufyan said, may Allah be pleased with all of them, he said, and I don't think that any of their deeds will rise to heaven. وَمَا أُرَاهُ يَرْتَفِعُ لَهُ مَعَ هَذَا عَمَلٌ إِلَى السَّمَاءِ Allahu Akbar. With this batil aqidah that you have, I don't think any of your deeds are accepted. I don't think any of your deeds go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِلَيْهِ يَصْعَدُ الْكَلِمُ الطَّيِّبُ وَالْعَمَلُ يَرْفَعُهُ. As Allah says in the Quran, to Allah ascends good words. وَالْعَمَلُ, and the deeds do what? To take them with them. So I don't, with this batil aqidah that you have, I don't think your deeds go anywhere. That's serious now. Making that type of disrespectful statement and stance against Abu Bakr, Umar, and the Muslims, Allah is not going to be pleased with you. Allah is not going to accept your good deeds. You're wasting your time believing in batil, thinking that you're going to Jannah. Everybody understand the narration? That the deeds are taken to Allah Azza wa Jal, who is above His creation, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Khairan, inshallah. We're done for Kitab al-Sunnah for tonight. We'll do the Kitab al-Adab after the Salah. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Subhanakallahumma hamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.